just say it out loud. You raise your hand, whatever works for you.
Get plugged in.
Stay plugged in, right? I kind of gave you the answer, right? It's right behind me. It's an open book test, right? Stay plugged in. And we talked about how we were created in God's image and how God is always trying to nurture us and culture us into his people, this new humanity that he wants us to be. And then who remembers what last week was about? I'm not going to give you a hint on the screen. Okay, stay focused. Look, some of y'all are like, oh yeah, that's it. That was it. Stay focused. Okay. And then last week I left you with something that I wanted you to remember for the rest of your lives. And it was this little saying, and who could tell me what this is? Constantly focused, blank, blank, blank. Say it one more time. Someone who got it.
Constantly focused on what is focused on you.
Constantly focused on what constantly focuses on you. And we know that the only person who can even achieve constantly focusing on you is Jesus. That's it. You ain't, were you here last week? You saw it?
In spirit realm.
Hallelujah. So in the spirit realm, we got some people here that are focusing on God because God is constantly focused on us, even when we're doing wrong, when we're doing right, when we're walking in love, when we're not walking in love. God is constantly focused on us and how he can guide our path to meet other people, but most importantly, come in relationship with him in a deeper, more intimate level, as we've been talking about this entire year of 2020 so far. But I want to start this weekend, and I have a thing for names, so I don't know if every class is going to start with stay blank, but this one will. So, like, I love to have people take notes because anything I say and I take my time to get with God and I want to share with you, I promise you I believe it's important. I'm not going to share anything that I don't think is. So, the name of this week's Equip class is Stay Calm. Stay calm. Stay calm. Now, I got a question for you guys. How many people have been like living life and your spiritual life, your financial life, your relationship life is like on fire and you feel like untouchable at times? Where it's like nothing you do, everything's just falling in place. The deal you want, you got a better deal. The job you want, you got the job. The relationship you wanted is a good relationship, whatever it might be. How many people just know what it's like to just be in that place where everything's hitting right? Okay, so we leave Genesis, right? And I'm thinking like, man, Genesis would be just like a dope ending to the whole Bible. Right, could you imagine like Jesus, he goes, he takes care of of Israel, and they just start serving him for the rest of their days, and they don't ever turn away from him. And these 12 tribes, they just go on and they take over Egypt, and they just go live, and the whole world populates a bunch of Christians. Well, I guess you wouldn't be Christians without Christ coming later, but a bunch of people who follow God intimately, right? But that's not what we see. Okay, so let's say your life is going and everything's going good, and it just seems like you haven't had any bad days. I know I've been in a place where everything's just going right for me, and hey, my relationship's good. I'm reading my Bible. I'm in my Word. I'm feeling spiritually strong. I'm praying. I'm doing my thing. But then it could be something so small, like my tire just catch a flat, and I'm like, God, do you even exist? Like, why? Like, why am I in this situation? Like, God, why you let this happen to me? You know what I'm saying? Like, these little things that happen in life, and they're circumstantial, but we just feel like, man, everything should just be going fine. You reap what you sow, right? I've been doing good things. Why am I sowing this in my life? And when I kind of think about that, I kind of think about these Israelites, this tribe of Israel, this nation. And it's like, man, in Genesis, it seemed like everything was going good. Everything was going swell. Joseph, we threw him in the pit, but then he got up, and now he's number 2 in Egypt. The whole family comes to Egypt, and they got the best of the land. But of course, as we just saw in this overview, man, it just doesn't last. It just doesn't last. This Pharaoh rises up, and he starts being more cruel than anybody's ever been before in the Bible so far. He starts killing people and putting people in bondage and becoming servants and just being such a terrible God. Even to the point where he starts saying that all the men child that are born, man, just drown them. kill them when they're born. But then it's where God just pops up on the scene. And I want to just kind of focus in on the story of Moses. And in your notebook or whatever you're doing in your phone, I need you to write down 3 points. I've been watching this guy. Y'all might know him. His name is Robert Morris, and he does 3 points. And I'm like, if he could do 3 points and it works for him, well, man, I could do 3 points and it'll work for me. So I want to take you there. So 3 points. So write down 1, 2, 3. It's going to be real simple, and we won't be here all night. I promise you. So I want to start off with a little bit of background on the story of Moses. We just saw an overview, but I want to key in on something, right? So Exodus chapter 2, and it's not on my slideshow. You don't have to turn there. I just want to give you a little bit of background for your sake. So Moses, like I said, was that baby that you saw even in the animation that was born, and the mother puts him in a basket to go down the Nile, and then he's taken out of the basket, out of the river, by Pharaoh's daughter. And from that point on, he's raised in an Egyptian household. But then it says a little bit later on, one day, this is Exodus 2, verse 11, if you want to take notes. It says, one day when Moses had grown up, he went out to his people, the Israelite people, and looked on their burdens, and he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his people. He looked this way and that, and seeing no one, he struck down the Egyptian and hit him in the sand. When he went out the next day, behold, 2 Hebrews were struggling together. And he said to the man in the wrong, why do you strike your companion? He answered, who made you a prince and a judge over us? Do you mean to kill me as you killed that Egyptian? So check it. So Moses is raised up in the Egyptian household. He really doesn't even have to go and say that these people are his people. These Hebrew people are his. But he goes out there and he sees somebody doing this person wrong, and this, whatever it might be, this anger, or this passion, whatever it might be, rose up in him, and he decided to kill the man and then try to hide it. He goes back the next day like, hey, how you doing, my people? I was just here yesterday hoping that nobody saw him. But he says, hey, man, why are y'all fighting, man? Break that up, man. It's not that important. And they say, Moses, I don't know who you think you're talking to. What you going to do? You going to kill me like you did that Egyptian yesterday? And in that moment, let's see how he reacts. Let's see how he reacts. Then Moses was afraid and thought, surely the thing is known. And when Pharaoh heard of it, he sought to kill Moses. But Moses fled from Pharaoh and stayed in the land of Midian. So right there, he's like, okay, I thought this was a secret. I thought I was going to just kind of step back out on the scene and just kind of help people and just kind of be amongst what were really his people. And the same people he tried to help, he went out of his way to do something that good intentions might be. Same people saying, what you going to do? You going to kill me too? Huh? That's what you're going to do? You want me to be scared of you? I'm not scared of you, Moses. And then Pharaoh finds out, and now he's on the run. And that's where we find him in Midian, where I do want to take you to today. So, we're talking about stay calm, and I'm going to give you some more to that in a little bit, but I want to go to Exodus 3, 1 through 9. I want you guys to be able to see it. It's kind of small because there's a lot of reading, but can everybody see it decently enough? Okay, so this is Exodus 3, 1 through 9. One day Moses was tending the flock of his father-in-law. He ran off to Midian, he found some people, and he married this woman. He goes out, finds him a whole new family, a whole new people. So one day Moses was tending the flock of his father-in-law, Jethro, the priest of Midian. He led the flock far into the wilderness and came to Sinai, the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a blazing fire from the middle of a bush. Moses stared in amazement. Though the bush was engulfed in flames, it didn't burn up. This is amazing, Moses said to himself. Why isn't the bush burning up? I must go and see it. When the Lord saw Moses coming to take a closer look, God called to him from the middle of the bush, Moses, Moses. Here I am, Moses replied. Do not come any closer, the Lord warned. Take off your sandals, for you are standing on holy ground. I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. When Moses heard this, he covered his face because he was afraid to look at God. Then the Lord told him, I have certainly seen the oppression of my people in Egypt. I have heard their cries of distress because they're harsh slave drivers. Yes, I am aware of their suffering. So God comes on the scene. He draws Moses in close by lighting this bush on fire. And when he gets closer, he starts talking to him. Moses, Moses, I'm glad you're here. I got something for you to do. I've seen the cries of the Hebrew people. I've seen the cries of them. And there's something I need to talk to you about. We see here in this moment that Moses was hiding and the Hebrews were hurting. And I want to give you point number one. Y'all ready for it? I see you. I see you. When I read this, I was just overwhelmed by a God who sees it all. Moses, you thought you got away. You thought you were running from me. You thought you were doing your own thing. But Moses, I got to tell you something. I see you. You out here in the desert. You're out here in the hills. You done got you a new family. And you think that you've taken away the old identity and that you've gotten your own. But I see you. And more importantly than just Moses, he says, I not only see you and I not only have something for you to do, but I see my people. And I hear their cries. And I see the harsh masters that they have. And there's something that I need to do. How many people in life just feel like sometimes we're going through a tough spot? We're like, why did we get in this situation? And we just feel like, God, like, do you even see me? Like, I see all these promises in the Bible, and I see how you've changed Dr. Ray, and I've seen how you changed Pastor Jay, and maybe they were just special. But do you see me? Do you see what's going on at home in my relationship with my husband or with my wife that we're bickering every day? Like, do you see me? Do you see me when I'm at home and I'm crying because I got these kids and the father or the mother are gone and I don't know what to do and I need you and I'm waiting for a sign, but I don't even know if you see me. And we know exactly what that is. That's the voice of the accuser there. That's the voice of the adversary telling you that what applies for everyone else in the world doesn't apply to you. But I'm here to tell you today, no matter what you're facing in your life, if you're on your way up or you feel like you're on your way down, that God sees you. Amen? Amen. I just really want you to get that. I just really need you to get that because he sees all and he hears all. He sees the status of your heart. He sees what you're going through in your life. He sees what's going on with your children. He sees what's going on in your mind. He sees the battles he sees the good efforts that you're doing. He sees the progress that you're making. But we get so critical of ourselves. Other people are so critical of us that we feel like we have to be there. And nobody even want to tell us what there is. They just know you ain't got there yet. But I'm here to tell you that God sees you. And I'm trying to keep everything in the Old Testament, right? Because we're making our way through, and I'm reading through it personally with a group, and a lot of people in the ministry are reading through the entire Bible in the Old Testament. So I want to give you an example. Okay, so Moses had this great calling to him, right? You know, like, we know how the story pretty much ends. He goes on, he faces Pharaoh in the overview, and the people leave. So maybe he's just a little different. Maybe God sees him. You know, God has never lit a bush on fire for me. So maybe I'm just not as visible as Moses was. That's the kind of stuff we tell ourselves, like, since the miracle didn't happen yet in my life, it must never gonna happen, right? Since I didn't see this breakthrough yet in my life and my prayer didn't get answered yet, then it just must not be for me. But let me show you somebody else in the Old Testament that we just finished going through Genesis who thought that they weren't being seen either. Genesis 16, 7 through 13. Then the angel of the Lord found Hagar. Do you remember Hagar? It was a story of Abraham and Sarah, and the Lord told them that they were going to have descendants, and the time just kept ticking, and they got impatient, and we talked about they lost their focus last week, and they said, here's my servant Hagar. She can have a child, so they do it. Now Hagar's feeling herself. She's pregnant now. She's about to have a baby, and she's thinking like, I'm about to be the first lady. Like she's running the show now. But that's not the case, because she starts to go out and gloat and start to treat Sarah all kind of wicked. And then Sarah turns up the heat on her. And it's like, I want her out of here. And she could tell the animosity, so she runs away. In Genesis 16, 7 through 13, the angel of the Lord found Hagar after she ran away near a spring in the desert. It was a spring that's beside the road to Shur. And he said, Hagar, slave of Sarai, where have you come from and where are you going? I'm running away from my mistress Sarai, she answered. Then the angel of the Lord told her, go back to your mistress and submit to her. Wait a minute. You just heard me say I'm trying to get out. And you telling me to go back, not only go back, but to submit? This had to be a reality check right here. I'm thinking the angel of the Lord comes to me. You about to make it rain $100 bills or something like that. Like we about to be straight. I got your own land. But what does he say? He says, I need you to go back to your mistress and I need you to submit. The angel added, I will increase your descendants so much that they will be too numerous to count. The angel of the Lord said to her, you are now pregnant and you will give birth to a son. Skip down to 13. She gave this name to the Lord who spoke to her. You are the God who sees me. For she said, I have now been seen, the one who sees me. If God could find Hagar out in the desert, running away from her problems, God sees you.
Yeah, amen.
No matter where you think you are, God sees you. Okay? So let's move on. We're back in Exodus, right? Exodus 3, 10 through 14. Now go. This is now God talking back to Pharaoh. We're right at the bush. And he's saying, now go, for I am sending you to Pharaoh. You must lead my people Israel out of Egypt. But Moses protested to God. Who am I to appear before Pharaoh? Who am I to lead the people of Israel out of Egypt? God answered, I will be with you. And this is your sign, that I am the one who has sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God at this very mountain. But Moses protested, if I go to the people of Israel and tell them, the God of your ancestors has sent me, they will ask me, what is his name? Then what should I tell them? God replied to Moses, I am who I am. Say this to the people of Israel, I am has sent you. Let's keep reading. Exodus 4, 1 through 7. But Moses protested again. What if they won't believe me or listen to me? What if they say the Lord never appeared to you? God's saying, I got something for you to do. And it seems like it seems like Moses has something to say for everything that God's saying. I need you to go. Well, who am I going to say sent me? What if they believe? What if they don't believe me and say this God didn't really appear to you? And as you'll see as we read through this, man, Moses was not the cooperative little man of God that we sometimes think these great people of God are. So let's keep reading. What if they won't believe me or listen to me? What if they say the Lord never appeared to you? Then the Lord asked him, what is that in your hand? A shepherd's staff, Moses replied. Throw it down on the ground, the Lord told him. So Moses threw the staff on the ground. The staff is that big stick that you see those shepherds with. So Moses threw down the staff, and it turned into a snake. Moses jumped back. Then the Lord told him, reach out and grab it by its tail. So Moses reached out and grabbed it, and it turned back into a shepherd's staff in his hand. I need you to not only catch the conversation that's going on, but I need you to see what this God, maybe you know him, what this God is able to do just to prove himself and to build up confidence in this one man who he's trying to send on a mission. 5, perform this sign, the Lord told him. Then they will believe that the Lord, the God of their ancestors, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob really has appeared to you. Then the Lord said to Moses, now put your hand inside of your cloak. So Moses put his hand inside of his cloak, and when he took it out again, his hand was white as snow, with a severe skin disease. Now put your hand back in your cloak, the Lord said. So Moses put his hand back in, and when he took it out again, it was as healthy as the rest of his body. What is God doing here? To me, he would have just been freaking me out. Because I just would have been scared. Why this snake? And why are you trying to... But what he was doing was showing God, you're so worried about you. But don't worry about that. I'm not going to ask you to do something that you can't do. I need you to believe in yourself. And I need you to believe in me. He's building a relationship. He's building a history. And he's showing them how mighty he is. And sometimes we forget that. We just forget how mighty God is. That everything that happened in Genesis, like it just never happened. But let me finish this up. The Lord said to Moses, if they do not believe you and are not convinced by the first miraculous sign, they will be convinced by the second. But Moses pleaded with the Lord. Oh Lord, I'm not very good with words. I never have been, and I'm not now. Even though you have spoken to me, I get tongue-tied and my words get tangled. Then the Lord asked Moses, what makes a person's mouth? Who decides whether people speak or do not speak, hear or do not hear, see or do not see? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I will be with you as you speak, and I will instruct you in what to say. Again, Moses got something else to say. But God is saying, dude, are you tripping? You worried about your mouth and being able to speak? And like, do you not know who I am? Do you not know I created you? Do you not know that I control who speaks and who doesn't speak? Who sees, who doesn't see? Who hears and who doesn't hear? That's the same way we go to God. He's got solutions, and we just give him a bunch of questions. Well, God, what about this one? And what about that? And what about this? And what about that? And I could just imagine that during all this, that Moses was not remaining calm. I couldn't imagine that God would just be saying, I need you to do this, and he's just saying, well, God, I just done this for good. Because God had a plan all along, right? We got to be able to trust in the fact that God has his plan. Even when we have doubts, even when we have worries, God's got a plan. So there's no reason to worry. Right? What does the scripture say? Like, for which one of you by worrying can add a single day to your life? What? So when you worry, you're not adding anything to your life, but you're really taking away from your life. So I tell you again, God already knows, and God has a plan. Y'all rocking with me? Yeah. Okay. All right, so let's get back to Exodus. This is picking up right where we just left off, where Jesus said, all right, he got angry, and we all concluded it's not good to be on God's bad side. But Moses again pleaded, Lord, please send someone else. The Lord became angry with Moses. All right, he said, what about your brother Aaron the Levite? I know he speaks well, and look, he's on his way to meet you. He will be delighted to see you. Verse 15, this is where we're picking up. Talk to him and put the words in his mouth. I will be with the both of you as you speak, and I will instruct you both in what to do. Wait a minute, God. I just asked you to send somebody else, and you said, all right, what about your brother Aaron the Levite? And I'm sure Moses was like, yeah, Aaron could do it. Yeah, I don't have to do it. My sister, she could do it. Or no, Pastor Jay, he could do it. Yeah, God, you want me to disciple? That's Dr. A's thing. Dr. A could do it. Oh, you want me to go win souls? No, that's Ebony's thing. Ebony can do it. Or you want me to teach a class? Oh, no. Brother Mike could do it. And he good, too. Okay, I'll do that last part. No, but I really want you to catch this. At this point, I imagine, in the middle of the sentence that Moses was like, bet. Moses was like, bet. You want somebody else to do it? I got you. And then verse 15 comes and he says, put the words in his mouth. I will be with both of you. Wait a minute, God. I thought we just had a conversation. I told you I wasn't qualified. I told you I couldn't do it. And I thought we both kind of came to this, conclusion that Aaron could do it. Well, what do you mean you're going to be with both of you? He says, I'll be with both of you as you speak. And I will instruct you both in what to do. Aaron will be your spokesman to the people. He will be your mouthpiece. And you will stand in the place of God for him, telling him what to say. And take your shepherd's staff with you and use it to perform the miraculous signs that I have shown you. And just right there, that little part ends. And I don't know what really happened in real life, but I can imagine, God was a little angry. I imagine as soon as he said this last part, that flame went out of that bush. That's just me. Moses, you're coming at me with a bunch of questions, and I'm trying to tell you that you can do it, but you don't believe me. So I'll help you out a little bit. I'll put you a little bit at ease, but you're still going. Like that's what happens for a lot of us, right? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. You said I could roll with who? Okay, so they'll really just handle most of the work. I just kind of sit back in the cut. No. You're still going, and you got to pull your weight. We just want the easy way out. And I'm saying we because that's me too. Left to my own devices, left to my own, I try to take the easy way too. Right? Like who wants to go against Pharaoh? And check this, like, in all of this that's going on, not once does Moses even show that he doesn't care about the Hebrew people. He just thinks he's not the one for the job. But I want to let you know, to the next one, that you and all of your excuses don't mean nothing to what God has to say. Moses hits him with 5 excuses, right? Who me? I'm nobody. How many people have ever said that? Like, with what's going on in your life? People will ask me tough questions, like, who is this God who sent you? How many times has that stopped me personally? I don't even know. Man, I want to witness to somebody. I want to share with somebody, but they don't seem like they really want to hear God. What if they just ask me some tough question I don't know the answer to? Nobody will listen to me. Even if I say something to this person, it's not going to change nothing. I'm not talented enough. I just shared that with y'all. Somebody else could maybe do it better. There's someone else who can do it better than me. 5 excuses that Moses gave. And this leads me to my third and final point. I still choose you. And if you weren't here Sunday, or if you haven't seen the message from Sunday of why does God choose the people that he chooses, you've got to watch it. Because I don't have enough time to break it down. And I probably couldn't do it as good as Pastor Joe. You see how we just compare ourselves to people anyway. So, I still choose you. In the face of all these doubts. And we don't know why, but God is sitting here and he's like, yeah, say what you need to say. Let it out. Go ahead. I'm here. I'm patient and I'm kind and I'm forgiving. Go ahead. Yeah. Oh yeah. You want to be coddled? You just want to be held like a baby. I love going to my godmother sometimes. She don't do it as much anymore as when I was younger, but she used to just let me go to her and just kind of unload all my problems. Like, Mom, but you don't understand. They yelled at me, and I don't think I could do it. And somebody else could do it better, and I didn't go to school for this. I didn't train for this. And she'd just be like, oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, but then you got to let them know how you feel. You got to let them know. You got to say something. You got to open your mouth. And I'd be like, yeah, that's right. I got to open my mouth. But just listen to me for a little bit longer. And then I got older, and the conversations conversations changed. She switched up. And those conversations where I could just like let out and cry or whatever for 30 minutes to an hour turned into these quick little 5-minute sermons. And for every excuse I had, it seemed like there was an answer. And that's what God shows Moses. And that's what God is trying to show each of us. Stay calm. Because I see you. I already know what your worries are, what your doubts are. I've got a plan. And I still choose you. But he says, no, who me? I'm nobody. What's his answer? He says, I will go with you. People ask me tough questions like, who is the God who sent me? I am. Nobody will listen to me. I will work signs and wonders for you. I'm not talented enough. Who created you in the first place? I did. There is someone who can do it better than me. I have prepared others to help you. Now go. Who could tell me something interesting about what's on one side and what's on the other? This is not a rhetorical.
Negative, positive.
What's up? Negative, positive. That's the right answer. But some a little bit more in detail. Maybe some might even put in bold.
I see fear, and then on the other side, I see confidence.
Fear and confidence. Right answer too. But maybe I something I put in bold. Uh-oh. Say it one more time.
God.
Do y'all see that? There's a whole lot of me going on over here. But there's a whole lot of I going on this side. And when we get sidetracked and our excuses make us focus, like we talked about last week, focus. When we start to focus on the me, then we start to lose focus of the I. God is not sending you, he's not asking you to do it because you can do it by yourself. Okay, it didn't look like that was a revelation to nobody. All right, so I'm going to say it one more time. God didn't ask you to do it because you can do it alone. God asked you to do it because he wants to work with you. He wants to partner with you. Look at y'all. I see some of y'all looking around like, can you move your head out the way? No, he wants to partner with you. He's desperate to partner with you. He wants to work with you. And for everything that you think is your weakness, he's saying, I am. God, I don't know what to say. Well, I am. Well, God, I'm scared. Well, I am. And over, he's saying, if you just stop focusing on you and focus on me or focus on I am, that we wouldn't have to have these conversations and you wouldn't be stuck like that 10 man. But then you might be asking, okay, God, you appeared to Moses in the bush. You had a whole conversation with him. I've been a Christian for 20 years, and I don't think I ever heard no words from you. I don't know if you've ever talked to me. And especially not this clear of a sentence. Why would you choose me? And like I said, go back and see the message. And as Pastor Jay was saying about Noah, he was saying, man, he believes that it's because Noah was obedient. That's why God chose him. And I've got my own theory about Moses and why God chose Moses. And I believe it has something to do with Moses' heart. Moses, even when he was back in Egypt, he had compassion enough and good intentions enough to stop something that he thought was evil. How he went about it, totally wrong way. Don't kill nobody. But he had a heart to try to do what was right when he could have looked the other way. And then when he goes to Midian, and I didn't share this in the story, but when you go back and read it, man, you'll see that there were these girls and they were in trouble and they were getting bothered, and he went and helped them too, just went out of his way. And I believe that it was Moses' heart that God wanted. Because out of all of his excuses, he never said, I don't care about the Hebrew people. Even though they said, Moses, what are you going to do, kill us? He never said, I don't care. He just says, I'm not the one. But I want to ask you a question. What's stopping you from believing that God chose you for a reason? Like, what's stopping you from believing that? Because there's a reason God chose you. And it's not because you're good enough to do it by yourself. Because that's what we think. We think, oh, well, Pastor Jay, he's good with research and he's good with speaking. Like, he could do that by himself. No. Or Dr. A, she's good with relationships. She just does this type of stuff. She's just naturally like that. She could do that by herself. No. Very mistaken. We need to be partnered with God. We need to be partnered with God to bring about the change, to be obedient, to do what he has us to do. But man, we just gotta stay calm. I got you. That's all God was telling me when I read. It's like, man, stay calm. I got you. Some people might be facing something that's crazy that I don't even know about, nobody knows about. But you know what you're struggling with or what situation you're in. And man, you just need to know, man, I do this a whole lot of times at my job when I just feel like that feeling of stress and about to be overwhelmed come on because people are just bothering me. And I just breathe out. I just tell myself, stay calm. God got me. Can y'all just repeat that after me just one time? I'm not going to ask you 6 times or nothing like that. Just say, stay calm.
Stay calm.
God's got me.
God's got me.
That's like the most relaxing thing that you could tell yourself. I might feel like I'm alone, but I'm never alone. Stay calm. God's got you. So,